What's going on, everybody? I'm Jory Goodman, the Time Teller, here with another installment of T3 Off the Cuff, your daily urology news. And today we're going to be talking about something that seems to keep weaseling its way onto my channel, and that would be Rado. That's right, one of the forgotten ones, as I classify it, amongst Swatch's roster of brands. You know, Swatch Group really is just Omega, maybe Hamilton, and like Tissot has become very, very big in the last few years. And obviously people are going to be like, oh, what about this? What about that? What about this? The truth is, there are certain forgotten ones. In pretty much every holding group, they have the haves and the have-nots. And when it comes to brands like Rado or Mido or, Certina for sure, these brands just, although each one of these brands has their own CEOs, it's really Swatch Group being, the puppet master here. Now, Rado is a watchmaker I really wrote off, and it's because I was focusing too much on their modern catalog. And pretty much everything aside from the Captain Cooks were like really uninteresting to me. But then they came out with like the translucent ceramic bezel, I believe, Captain Cooks, a couple years ago, and those look really like super badass, and I think they're worth every penny. And I think it's cool that they're one of the less well-known watchmakers in Swatch Group, at least to the Western world. Okay, and we're gonna talk about what I'm getting at in a moment. You guys already know what to do before I tell the time. Go ahead, follow me on Instagram at The Simple Consultant. Subscribe here if you haven't already. Hit the bell icon so you know when we upload, because you don't want to miss one of these daily off-the-cuff segments. And let's jump into it. It is 4:02 p.m. Let's get down to business. We are starting late today, people. I'm going to pull myself over to the corner, and I'm going to show you what I'm looking at. So when we take a look at these demographics, and this is actually really interesting, okay? This is one of my favorite things to do, especially when we're looking at, KPIs. This is just basic market research, I suppose. Top countries. Ever since I got into the watch world, I'm saying as a content creator, the number one thing I would hear in the comment section of my early YouTube videos is that, oh, Rado's really big in Pakistan and India. And I'm not from Pakistan or India, so I was like, wow, this is news to me. That's really cool. Sure enough, India is still up here, 22.96%, down from, 30.56%. Okay, so they're taking a hit. Or they're down 30%, excuse me. United States, 15.4%, down 11.69%. And then we have some other countries, pretty much, 2 European countries, and then Korea. What's interesting is still, although these demographics, these percentages seem to be going down, and I guess Korea is up a ton, 250%, and Italy is up 91%. Those are still relatively small in comparison to India and, yes, the United States. The United States number is still actually kind of impressive to me, because the truth is, Rado is not very popular here stateside. I can tell you that as a dealer and as an enthusiast. Rado is just not interesting here. And I think it has to do with marketing, right? They want to... I'm in the marketing world. Okay, guys, I was a business consultant focusing on online marketing and doing ad campaigns and stuff long before I was ever the Time Teller. And the truth is, part of marketing and sales is going path of least resistance. That's why they pay people like me and my firm to do market research and find the people that would be most interested in becoming, a prospective client, and then ultimately a client that will spend money with your business. So these companies, I'm not blaming, Swatch Group for allocating certain funds for companies to go to certain places. Like, for instance, Certina really is not big at all in the United States, but in other places like Eastern Europe, like Russia and Poland, Certina is very big. So they're going path of least resistance. Now, would I like these brands like Mido and some of these forgotten ones, as I've coined them, to come out west and allocate more funds to market here? Yes, because personally, I think they would probably do fairly well. But they have huge marketing teams and analysts and consultants that they hire, I'm sure, and they have data that I don't. So, whatever. I'm not running their business. Let's talk about why I was wrong with Rado. This watch here looks stunning. This is from my episode about a year ago. I was wrong about Rado. And this really reminded me of where Rado really did well. And it was their vintage watches, Golden Horse, right? They have a few of these reissues, and these are actually going for a pretty penny right now. Beads of Rice bracelet, even looks nice on leather. Really nice fume, gorgeous framed date window. And what's interesting is I actually don't mind that this is not color matched. It looks even more vintage, and it's so nicely framed and bordered that it being a white date wheel with non-color matching, it just looks so nice and so vintage, and it's just very well done. Here's an actual vintage one, the Golden Horse logo here. And this even has a magnifier, again, beads of rice bracelet coming into the end links. It just looks very, very, vintage and beautiful. And it's right up my alley. We had a Rado at the shop. Again, another one of these reissues, gorgeous. And it's a very interesting watch, the Cornell. Okay, this is like a cushion case sports watch. Really cool watch, in my opinion. Again, full disclosure, we sold it at the Time Teller shop, but great watch. So what am I getting at? Well, Rado, shout out to Monochrome Watch, introduced these. Women's Watch Wednesday. That's very cool that that Monochrome Watches does that. The Rado True Thin Line Great Gardens of the World series. These are ceramic models, okay? This is an example of Rado doing something incorrectly. All right, so we just went over why I was wrong about Rado, because a lot of, I kind of wrote them off as a fashion watch brand, and I thought they were really ugly, but then we look at their vintage models and their reissues of their vintage models and the Captain Cooks, and I was like, okay, they're really cool. This is where they're going back to doing ugly stuff. I almost swore on here. This is a very interesting dial. There's some texturing here, kind of looks like I don't know, like a snowflake or something. And this, you guys know why I don't like this. This should be in one of my series about butthole watches, but that's just a fad that I guess they're bringing into women's watches now. God help them. This is the mistake. These look like incredibly simple, just, fashion-y, accessory, cheap watches. They're two-handers. Yes, they're ceramic. So that's fine, I guess. I don't like ceramic watches. Ceramic bezel inserts are one thing, but ceramic, if you hit it hard enough, it's just going to shatter. And we've seen that with Panerai lugs on their ceramic watch cases. Okay, so you get a 30-hour power reserve. You get a 64-hour ETA, or 30-meter water resistance, 64-hour power reserve on that ETA 2892. Again, this is a Swatch Group brand, so of course they're going to have access to ETAs very readily. And you get a sapphire crystal. Is that worth the money, though, that they are asking? How much are they asking? Surely this is I don't know. This is a ceramic watch with an ETA movement. Maybe they're asking $750, right? $2,600 to $2,900. Are you out of your gourd? This is insane. I think another crazy thing is that this is a woman's watch collection, or series, I should say, and it's 40 millimeters. Yes, it's 9 millimeters thick, so it's very, very thin, but 40 millimeters, I think you should probably bump it down a little bit. This is just peak cringe. The pricing is incongruent. These are the Rados that you will find on eBay and stuff, and they look just kind of like throwaway, cheapo, ugly watches, and then you have to argue with people being like, no, well, Rado is actually a legit watchmaker. You're just seeing a lot of the ugly ones that they make, low-end, entry-level stuff. This is not doing Rado any favors, okay? These are ugly designs, in my opinion. One of them's literally a butthole dial, and they are about $2,000 more, especially when we're looking at, euros. I'll say about 2,500 euros too expensive. These look like they would be like maybe $200 watches. When you look at the specs and their ceramic sapphire with the ETA, sure, I could see them asking like 700, but come on, Rado, this isn't even going to be that long of an episode. But Rado, this is a joke. This is not good, and it's not doing Rado any favors. But hey, I don't make the rules. I just report on it, and I don't invent time. I just tell it. So, guys, you tell me what Rado you own. Do you own any of the Golden Horse collection? Do you own any of these vintage watches or any of the reissues of the vintage watches? And do you own any of these kind of cheapo, fashion-y, entry-level looking Rados? Leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you. And yeah, again, I'm just reporting the news and reporting my opinion on the news. All right, guys. I love you. Stay happy, stay healthy, stay blessed. I'm Jory Goodman, the Time Teller. Always remember, I didn't invent time. I just tell it. I will catch you tomorrow for tomorrow's T3 Off the Cuff, your one-stop shop for daily horology news. Love you guys.